pink polish. That is the next one. Excuse me, but I have a cold today. So that is why I am inside painting rather than outside in the studio where it is only 10 degrees. How are you guys doing today? We don't have any pink decor in the house. It leans more towards reds and yellows and Navajo white, lots of brown, tones of brown. But I do love pink. I love painting with pink. I love this pink polish color. A little bit darker than a baby pink. So these little diamond shaped pieces are made with cedar, and I cut them down. I have a local lumber mill that rips down these long pieces, 8, 10 feet long. And so I cut down each little diamond shape, hundreds of them at a time, on my saw, and then I paint each one. You might be familiar with the barn quilts I make that are a combination of all these inlaid pieces that have underlayment. And those I paint after I've already created the design on the underlayment. I guess I could have put my hair up. Boy, I tell you what, this time of year with cold and flu season, it made for a very quiet weekend around here. Catching up on some much needed rest. Okay, we got 3 more pieces. So what I do with these smaller wooden stars is they each are made out of 24 of these small cedar pieces. So I've been working with a palette of 4 colors. So you have 6 pieces that feature the same color. And once these are all painted, I sand them all down individually and give them a beveled edge and lightly sand the front face. Oops, my finger hit that. And then excuse me. Then I get started with putting the design together. And these are so much fun. These little wooden star barn quilts, they're about 10¼ inches by 10¼ inches. So they're perfect for like a small spot on your wall. You can hang them on a door, you can accent a wreath or a tobacco basket with them. You can prop them on a shelf or a bookcase. That's Leroy. I don't think you can see him, but you might have been able to see him on the stairway. He likes to sit on the stairs there because he can see out the windows down the road. We live on a 1-lane dirt road, and he likes to see the animals and the traffic that comes up once in a while. Not very often this time of year. All right, we got this last. Oh, I love this pink. I don't know if you can see it, but We've got some magenta here and another one called fuchsia, which is this middle one right here. And then we have one more shade of pink that we're gonna do. Stay. And this next one is called Pink Eraser, which is another medium pink. Wash off my brush. Yes, I do this in my kitchen because the sink is available. And we've got a great counter space right here. So, you know, it only takes a couple minutes to get that first layer of paint on. So you need a water source close by. Okay, but check out these other colors. We've got, let's see, we've got some Victorian violet and spring green and classic waltz purple, which is such a deep purple, it's so pretty. And then mountain forest green, and again the magenta, and let's do our last one. I actually do have some that I'm going to be painting, some turquoise, which, if any of you know me, is one of my go-to colors. That is a lovely rich color. Wow. Okay, last 6. So I usually start with the cut end. It's rough, it's the rougher part, and just get that first layer on. So with the pinks, I find that, this medium pink that I did, the pink eraser one, I think that's gonna require a second coat. Some of them have a strong enough pigment that you don't need that. And of course, I am sanding a little bit, so I don't want too much paint, or it's harder to sand down and give it that distressed, kind of time-worn, rustic look. There we go. I'm running out of space here. This is actually, I just put down some parchment paper, which is a handy little trick because I'm obviously putting a wet side down for these to prop up, but it dries and does not stick. So I can just pick these right off and it doesn't pull the paint off. We love parchment paper around here. We love any little tricks like that that make things just a little bit easier. Especially when you're doing hundreds of little pieces. It's not gonna stand up. I think I need a new saw blade on out in my studio, because when I cut, it will leave this little piece. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. See that little piece right there? Right there, where it just doesn't quite get it off. And it's no big deal because it gets sanded off later. But if I'm not holding this correctly, when I go down with the right side, when I go to set it down, it's not an even, look at that. God, that's so pretty. Look at how pretty that is. 3 more. I am so ready for spring. Vermont has such long winters, and we've actually been getting quite a bit of snow here this year. It seems like 2 or 3 inches every day, every other day. So there's just constant plowing and maintenance to be done, which I guess is kind of like in the summertime when there's mowing and weeding and deadheading in the flower beds. But it sure does make it pretty outside. And it does provide a little insulation with these cold temperatures that we're having. So I think this pink eraser, I'm gonna put a little bit more. Let's see. Tell you what, this is really hard to talk to the camera when there's no back and forth. Like, what am I supposed to say? It's pink. Pretty pink. Last one. And then I can do the turquoise if you'd like to see the turquoise. Oh, it's really pretty. I don't know if you can tell, I've got a wicked headache today. And I cannot get the frown creases on my forehead to relax, no matter what I try to do. I actually slept really well last night. Look at that. That is gorgeous color. Okay, next is turquoise. Let me wash this paintbrush. Okay, so we have some turquoise color that I'm going to do. I have 6 pieces, 1, 2, 3. I've got 7 there. I have 1 extra that I don't need, and I may just paint them all. I'll get rid of that one and do these 6. Okay, so we got some beautiful turquoise color that I had some extra pieces of out in the studio, and thought that I need to use them up, so I cut 6 more and we'll do the turquoise. So let's see if we can rearrange them here gently. Now see how that pops right up? These are pretty much dry, almost dry. And they just, do you guys remember those little dot candies that you would, I think they were like yellow and orange and red colors, maybe green, and they come on a little piece of paper and they're like a little dot and you would peel them off. And I don't remember liking them, but I just remember them, and I loved candy as a child. And as an adult, I still do. So, I don't even know if they had much flavor, but anyway, these kind of remind me of the little dot candies when I pick them off after they've fully dried. Okay, let's see what this turquoise looks like. Ooh, this is just a color that I mixed. Sometimes I have extra paint and we'll just create a color, or if I have a particular paint color that I need just a lighter shade of, I will make my own. And this is beautiful. Turquoise is such a wonderful color, and it is very, I find it to be very versatile, believe it or not. You know, you can go with a little bit more blue or a little bit more green in it, but it will go with all sorts of colors. You can do a southwestern palette with burnt orange and burnt umber and maybe some warm brown, and then add some turquoise in that, and it will just pop. Or you can add it with some pinks, or maybe some coral colors, which is kind of pink orange. And you get a beautiful color combination that would work for like, if you lean towards coastal decor, or maybe you have a beach house or a lake house that you like those brighter colors. But you pair this turquoise with some darker teal and either purples, or one that I like is some olive green, 2 shades of olive green together with the turquoise and teal is such a beautiful combination. I do believe I have a wooden star that features those 4 colors. But I say a lot, don't I? Because I have no one here to talk to. The only thing, I have Leroy, which is my husband's little Yorkie, who is so much fun. And we love him. Don't we, Leroy? He's always asking for a cookie, which most of the time he gets, so can you blame him for keeping on asking? I probably sound so nasally, at least to my own ears I do. There we go. Ooh. These will sand down nicely. So I'm usually listening to music while I do this, or some sort of a podcast. If I need a little extra oomph energy, I'll put on some music that gets me feeling upbeat. Cedar has a really nice wood grain to it. Sometimes I hate to cover it up with paint, but you know, when you sand it down a little bit, it will still show through. When you break up that solid cover, and it's funny, I'll get some pieces that have this like zebra shaped grain, and I like adding those into some pieces of mosaics that I do, these wood mosaics. What a gorgeous color. So as you know, paint goes on, it looks a little bit lighter than what it will be when it dries. So these will darken up just a little bit. I guess we gotta find your spot. Last one. See, it doesn't take terribly long. Sometimes it takes longer to pull all the paints together and get everything laid out than it does to actually paint the cedar. Which is why I generally tend to have a bunch lined up to do at once to make it worth. That is, of course, unless I find a color palette that I really like and just have to do it real quick just to see it. Does that ever happen to you where you got something in your mind and you can't rest until you just go make it so you can see how it comes out? There. And anyway, that's the turquoise. Isn't it beautiful? Beautiful. All right, I'm gonna clean this brush off one last time. Let these dry a little bit. This little sucker's not gonna stay in place. And next step is to take these back out to the studio and get them sanded down, and then start working on making the wooden stars.